Moving to the next point, that is nothing but types of sight distances. So first one is nothing but the stopping or non-passing sight distance, in short SSD, or which is also known as absolute minimum sight distance. Second, overtaking or passing sight distance, OSD. Third one, intermediate sight distance. And last one, lateral sight distance. So we'll discuss one by one. Starting with the first, stopping sight distance, SSD, or which is also known as non-passing sight distance, or which is also known as absolute minimum sight distance. So we'll see what is the basic definition of it, or what is the basic concept regarding this. So here you can see it is written clearly. The clear distance ahead needed by a driver to bring his vehicle to a stop before meeting a stationary object on the road is called as stopping or non-passing sight distance. So in general, we can call it as the distance within which a vehicle can be stopped. Okay, that is nothing but your called as stopping sight distance. So correspondingly, whenever you are going to drive your car, correspondingly, the driver should be able to stop his vehicle when he is seeing or he can see a stationary object without causing any kind of collision with that. That is nothing but called as your stopping sight distance. So there are various factors on which the stopping sight distance depends. So first one is nothing but the total reaction time of the driver. Okay. Then next one, the speed of the vehicle. So depending upon the situation, the driver is going to take the time to stop his vehicle to bring at stable, okay, at rest. That is nothing but total reaction time of the driver. So IRC has recommended certain correspondingly timing with respect to which the driver should be aware and he should bring the vehicle to stop or to stable or at rest when he sees the obstacle or any kind of obstruction. Stable. Next one is the speed of vehicle. It totally depends upon the driver at which speed he is driving. Next one is the efficiency of the brakes. Then correspondingly whether you are going to make use of the regular brakes, ABS brakes, or you are going to make use of the handbrake. So efficiency of the brakes are required when you are going to bring your vehicle to the stop mode or rest mode. Then frictional resistance between the road and the tires, that is correspondingly how much tire pressure is being maintained correspondingly in the tire so that it can have proper frictional resistance when you are moving and going to bring the vehicle at the stop. And last one is nothing but the gradient of the slope. So depending upon your speed, correspondingly you are going to bring the vehicle at the stop. That is nothing but the gradient of the slope. Or if you are in the speed and you are having a slope of the road, a slope is there, so there are chances of getting overturning. Okay, so stopping side distance depends upon all these five factors. So we'll see what are the various examples of the side distances, starting with the first. Here you can see sight distance at the horizontal curve. So a vehicle is approaching from left side and another vehicle is traveling from the other side. But there is one obstruction to the vision. Okay, so line of sight to the driver who is sitting here. Okay, so he cannot see the vehicle which is approaching towards this side due to the obstruction which is present over here. So that correspondingly, in order to have proper vision, he should drive safely. Second, sight distance at the road intersection. So as we have discussed at the intersection junction, there are chances of having the collision. So driver should be able to see the vehicle which is approaching towards that particular point when he is going to approach to that certain point. So here you can see, so this is nothing but the A and B are the two vehicles which are going to approach to a common intersection point, that is C. So if the car who is approaching is not able to see the car which is A going to come, okay, so there are chances of having the collision or accident might take place. Sight distance at the vertical summit of the curve. So whenever a vertical curve is there, summit curve is there, and an obstruction is there, okay, an object, due to the vertical curve or the summit curve, okay, the driver's eye is unable to see the object in that case, so he should stop the vehicle at a particular place so that he cannot have any kind of collision with the object which is at the rest. Okay, so you can see here eye level is where and corresponding line of sight which is required to see that object which is at the rest. So next point is the main, which is nothing but the total reaction time, which is also known as PIEV theory. That is perception, intellection, emotion, and volition. Okay. P stands for perception time, I stands for intellection time, E stands for emotion time, and V stands for volition time. So we'll see what is this actually theory meant for. Okay. So whenever a driver is supposed to drive his vehicle, he's under certain kind of having senses or correspondingly fear. Okay. So reaction time of the driver is the time taken from the instant moment the object is seen by the driver to the instant the brakes are effectively applied. Okay. So this process is divided into four psychological parts, that is perception, intellection, and emotion and volition time. Okay. So we'll see one by one. Okay. What done by perception? So starting with the first, perception time. Okay. So we'll see what is the meaning of the perception. So perception is nothing but the ability to see fear or become aware of the something through the senses. Okay. So whenever a vehicle is going to start by the driver, okay. So during his traveling situation, he might see any obstruction, any object which is at the rest. So that is nothing, and correspondingly, he is requiring to stop the vehicle. So time required for the sensations received by the eyes or ears of the driver to be transmitted to the brain through the nervous system and the spinal cord. Okay. So at the starting period only, suppose the vehicle driver, okay, he's just having any kind of fear in his mind that I am going to have an accident or there are chances of having accident. Okay. So correspondingly, that senses are being driven in his brain, and whatever is the reaction time required, the location what at which he is going to stop his vehicle, according to that, senses will be done, and the reaction will be done by the said driver. That time which is required is nothing but the perception time, or otherwise, the corresponding driver may apply the brakes directly instead of thinking any correspondingly situation he is going to apply the brakes. That is nothing but your reflex action. Next one is the intellection time. Okay, so that is the time required for the driver to understand the situation. It is also the time required for comparing the different thoughts. So during the traveling time, okay, so correspondingly the person who is driving the car may recall old memories, okay, formation of new thoughts and ideas, or the old memories which might have took place in his life during the driving period. Okay, so it is the time required for understanding the situation. Okay, and according to that, he is going to stop his vehicle. Okay, that is nothing but the intellection time. Next, emotion time. Okay, so the time elapsed during emotional, sensational, and other mental disturbance such as fear, anger, or any other emotional feeling, superstitions, etc. So in general, we can call it as it is nothing but like fear or anger that are linked with perception and intellection, that is P and I. So these are having a great influence on the final message or the decision sent by the brain to the muscle. So during the perception and intellection time, whatever the decision is supposed to be made, that has been made, it causes a great influence on the final message, whether to accelerate, whether to apply the brakes, and correspondingly bring the vehicle at the stop mode. So that is there are certain fear or anger, and the time elapsed during this emotional sensationals are called as is called as emotional time. And last one is nothing but the volition time. Okay, so it is nothing but dealing with the time taken by the driver for the final action such as brake application. So in general we can call it as power of using one's will. So suppose he is having the will to stop the vehicle, that is nothing but power of using will, or to accelerate what to do. Okay, so the actual act of taking a decision to produce action is done through the volition time. and the total time required for the perception, that is the initial case, then intellection here which took place here in the brain, then emotion and volition is nothing but called as reaction time, that is the response given by the brain to stop the vehicle or accelerate the vehicle, that is nothing but called as the reaction time. So this time may vary from zero point 0.5 second for simple situation to 3 to 4 seconds for complex situations. But as per the IRC recommendations, that is Indian Road Congress assumes that a value of 2.5 seconds is a standard which is determined as total reaction time. So this reaction time is affected by the conditions of the driver like fatigue, disease, alcohol consumption, his habits, skills, judgment and environmental conditions like climate, season, weather, time of day, light, etc. So this is regarding the PIAV theory. So in the next lecture, we will see what is meant by SSD, particularly again, and the problems based on stopping sight distance. Thank you.